Nikita Robin and welcome to SG Global News. From the miraculous recovery of 16-year-old Mary Bartold after seeking the intercession of Blessed Solanus KZ to the violent attack on Christian priests and pilgrims by an extremist group in the Indian state of Madhya Pradesh, we have many stories to cover. 16-year-old Mary Bartold from Michigan was diagnosed with 2 tumors, leading her family to seek the intercession of Blessed Solanus KZ. Just 3 days before her scheduled surgery and on the feast day of Blessed Solanus KZ, a final MRI revealed that the tumors had vanished, leaving doctors astonished. Her story has since been shared widely, with many seeing it as a miraculous healing that could contribute to the canonization of Blessed Solanus KZ.
16-year-old Mary Bartold from DeWitt, Michigan never imagined how drastically her life was about to change. An art-loving, athletic high schooler, she started her day at Lansing Catholic High School like any other. But before she knew it, she was doubled over in excruciating pain. Sent home early, Mary and her family had no idea this was just the beginning of a life-altering journey. That was last spring. Her parents, Susan and Rick, rushed their only daughter to the hospital. Tests revealed 2 tumors, one 3 centimeters, the other 7. Surgery was the only option, and they chose the University of Michigan Hospital for treatment. The diagnosis was overwhelming. Mary struggled to share the news with her friends, and fear consumed her. Unable to watch her daughter suffer, Susan turned to a deep devotion to Blessed Solanus KZ, the humble Capuchin friar known for his love of the Eucharist and the many miracles attributed to his intercession. Determined to seek divine help, Susan and Rick made a pilgrimage to the Blessed Solanus KZ Center in Detroit. There they prayed fervently for Mary's healing and for the strength to endure what lay ahead. The pilgrimage was transformative. Mary, once paralyzed by fear, found peace. She placed her trust in God and opened her heart to the prayers of others. With Mary's consent, Susan invited friends and family to pray a novena to Blessed Solanus KZ leading up to her scheduled surgery on August 2nd. Then, on July 30th, 3 days before the operation and coincidentally the feast day of Blessed Solanus KZ, Mary underwent a final MRI. With Rick away, Susan drove her daughter to the hospital in Ann Arbor in the early morning darkness. As rain poured down, she gripped the steering wheel and whispered, "Solanus, I'm doing this for you." The next day at noon, the surgeon called, her voice filled with excitement. The tumors had vanished. Multiple radiologists reviewed the scans to confirm the findings. It was the death anniversary of Blessed Solanus KZ. Susan knew in that moment God had worked a miracle, and Blessed Solanus KZ had interceded. The Diocese of Lansing has since shared Mary's story through an official statement and video reaching thousands. Now, as spring returns, Mary is vibrant as ever. The initial shock has faded, and she fully embraces the miracle, grateful for the prayers offered on her behalf. Friends have come forward sharing that they had been praying for her. Many others, people she has never even met, also lifted her up in prayers, drawn by her willingness to trust in God. Her father Rick is moved to tears as he recounts the journey. He believes Mary's openness to prayer paved the way for her healing. Blessed Solanus KZ, beatified in 2017, was known for his simple faith and humility. He served communities in Detroit, Huntington, New York City, and Yonkers, drawing crowds seeking his prayers. Even after his death in 1957, reports of miraculous healings have continued. The Vatican recognized one such healing, that of Paula Medina Zorate, a school teacher from Panama suffering from ichthyosis, leading to his beatification. Now, one more approved miracle stands between Blessed Solanus KZ and sainthood. While Mary doesn't know if her healing will be the one to secure his canonization, she wholeheartedly believes he deserves to be named a saint.
Pope Francis has approved the canonization of 3 blesseds: Peter Torot of Papua New Guinea, Ignatius Chaukrala Maloyan of Turkey, and Maria del Monte Carmelo of Venezuela, whose extraordinary lives of faith and sacrifice will soon be recognized by the Church. Blessed Peter was martyred during World War II for secretly ministering despite dangers. Archbishop Maloyan was executed during the Armenian genocide for refusing to renounce his faith, and Blessed Maria founded a religious congregation dedicated to serving others. Additionally, the Pope approved the beatification of Italian priest Carmelo de Palma and recognized Brazilian priest José Antonio de Maria Ibiapina as venerable.
Pope Francis has approved decrees related to the canonization of three blesseds. According to the decrees promulgated by the Vatican's Dicastery for the Causes of Saints on March 28th, Blessed Peter Torot of Papua New Guinea, Blessed Ignatius Chaukrala Maloyan of Turkey, and Blessed Maria del Monte Carmelo of Venezuela will soon be proclaimed saints in the Church. The dates for the canonization are yet to be determined. Born on March 5, 1912, Blessed Peter Torot was a catechist martyred for the faith in present-day Papua New Guinea. During the Japanese occupation of PNG during the Second World War, missionaries were imprisoned. However, Blessed Peter continued to carry out his apostolate in secret, risking his life. His brother reported him to the police and he was sentenced to prison, where he died of poisoning in July 1945. Blessed Ignatius Chaukrala Maloyan was born in 1869 in Mardin, present-day Turkey. After Turkish forces entered the First World War, Archbishop Maloyan was arrested along with 13 priests and 600 Christians. Archbishop Maloyan and his companions were executed on June 3, 1915, when they refused to renounce their faith. The third saint to be, Blessed Maria del Monte Carmelo, founded the Congregation of the Servants of Jesus in 1946, along with other Latin American nuns. The healing of a young woman in Caracas with a brain condition paved the way for the Venezuelan nun to be canonized. Pope Francis also approved the beatification of Italian diocesan priest Carmelo de Palma and declared Brazilian priest José Antonio de Maria Ibiapina a venerable of the Church.
Catholics in Nigeria held a 3-day protest to highlight the ongoing abductions and murders that have plagued their community for years. On the final day, a rosary procession and peaceful mass took place, starting from the Immaculate Conception Cathedral of Auchi Diocese, calling for enhanced security from the Nigerian government.
Catholics in Nigeria held a 3-day protest calling for an end to the series of abductions and murders that have plagued the community for years. Day 1 of the protest, that spanned March 25th to 27, was an online campaign, while the second day was set aside as a day of mourning for the priests, religious and lay persons who were killed by Islamic militants and Fulani herdsmen. A rosary procession and a peaceful march seeking increased security from the Nigerian government began from the Immaculate Conception Cathedral of Auchi Diocese on March 27th. A candlelight vigil in memory of the victims, including Father Christopher Odia and seminarian Peter Andrew, who were recently murdered in captivity, also took place on the same day. Bishop Gabriel Gaikomo Dunia of Auchi Diocese told ACI Africa that the protests were a call on the government to take action against killings and kidnappings in Edo State. The Director of Justice, Development and Peace Commission in Auchi Diocese, Father Clement Anedevha, stated, "Priests have suffered immense trauma, killings, abductions and assaults. Fear and restlessness have gripped the community. If this continues unchecked, it could lead into an outbreak of retaliatory violence." The Nigerian Catholic Diocese has taken proactive steps to counter the security threats, including establishing the Uduma Protection Squad in 2021, deploying drones for surveillance, and working closely with community trackers. However, only the active involvement of the government can ensure safety of Nigerian Christians.
The UK Labour Party-led council seeks to criminalise street preaching by suggesting an injunction that could imprison Christian street preachers for up to 2 years. The injunction would make it illegal for Christians to preach, pray, or distribute Bibles in public spaces. The council initially sought the injunction in February, citing concerns over noise and public distress caused by street preachers.
A Labour Party-led council in England has sparked outrage by suggesting a broad injunction that could imprison Christian street preachers for up to 2 years for allegedly causing offence or distress. A Rushmore Borough Council covering Farnborough and Aldershot has faced accusations of attempting to criminalise Christians for preaching, praying and distributing Bibles in public spaces. According to the Telegraph, the council initially applied for injunction in February, citing noise and public distress caused by street preachers. Under the proposed terms, Christians would be banned from praying for individuals without prior consent, handing out religious leaflets or Bibles by hand, and laying hands on people in prayer, even with permission. The injunction will also prohibit approaching individuals to discuss religion or preach that could be perceived as hostile toward protected characteristics such as age, gender, or sexual orientation. Violations of the injunction could result in fines, arrest, and a maximum prison sentence of 2 years. The injunction has been temporarily halted by an intervention by Christian Legal Center. The organization described the proposed measures as disproportionate and unlawful. Rushmore Borough Council explained that the decision comes after a significant number of complaints from residents and local businessmen regarding the behavior of street preachers. Issues raised include the use of portable PA systems, loud amplification, and messages that some found offensive or distressing. However, preachers and their supporters argue that the council's proposed measures unfairly target Christian evangelism. They maintain that preaching the gospel, a practice deeply embedded in British history, can naturally challenge non-believers and provoke strong reactions. But this should not be considered a criminal offense.
Christian groups have condemned the murder of Nadeem Nath, a Hindu man in Pakistan who was shot dead by an extremist for refusing to convert to Islam, highlighting the ongoing persecution of religious minorities in the country. This tragic incident, along with a recent attack on a young Christian man, has reignited concerns about rising intolerance and violence as advocacy groups call for stronger international intervention. Catholic priests and pilgrims were violently attacked by extremist groups in the Indian state of Madhya Pradesh. A group of Catholic pilgrims from Mandla parish who were travelling to visit various Catholic churches in Jabalpur as part of the 2025 Jubilee year celebrations had their pilgrimage suddenly disrupted. Father Davis, the Vicar General of Jabalpur, and Father Jose T., the diocesan procurator, rushed to the scene to support the distressed pilgrims, but were also assaulted by the attackers. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of India has condemned this brutal and inhumane attack on Christian pilgrims in Jabalpur district, Madhya Pradesh. That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.